Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special podcast. This is the podcast where we pretty much watch all your old favorite TV shows, sitcoms from ever, basically, and then discuss them over an adult bev. So, I'm Patrick M. Dunn. You probably remember me from, I believe this is episode 42?
It is episode 42.
At least the previous 41 episodes or less, in case you're a new listener. And I'm joined here, as always, by Kat Halstead, the author.
What up?
She writes books and shit, and she watches TV. And she suggested tonight's episode, I believe, correct?
I think I suggested we do an episode of this show. I didn't specifically suggest this episode. You found this one.
All right. So tonight's episode is Cybill, the short-lived... No, it was on for a few years, right?
No, it was on for 4 seasons.
All right. So the show was on for 4 years in the mid to late 90s. It starred Cybill Shepherd from Taxi Driver, Moonlighting, and, I don't know, I'm sure like a romantic comedy or two here or there.
Yeah, she's done all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and she sings, I believe?
She sings in this episode.
I believe she sings in every episode. I've seen like 3 episodes of Cybill, and she has sang in all these 3 episodes. So I just
Really?
Plus the theme song, so I don't know.
That's true. It's one catchy theme song.
The song is called Nice Work If You Can Get It. It is a popular song written by George Gershwin, and it was originally... It's old. This is from like the 30s. So it's from a movie called A Damsel in Distress, in which Fred Astaire did the backing vocals.
Oh, interesting.
Before we get into the show, should we get some house cleaning out of the way?
Okay. Oh, so like all our social media presence, like you're at Patrick M. Dunn pretty much everywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Twitter, Tumblr, Periscope, Instagram. And I am Kat DVS pretty much everywhere. So Twitter, Tumblr, Periscope, Instagram.
Pinterest.
All that good stuff. We have our own website, a very special podcast.tumblr.com. And you can find all the episodes, occasional articles, blog posts, kind of stuff. What else? What am I forgetting? I feel like the podcast Twitter, @verypodcast.
That's what I thought you were going to get into, and then you started getting into all this other stuff. And I was
totally we are so out of practice.
Like, you're making this like a 7-minute segment. I thought you were just going to drop @verypodcast and be like, that's our gateway drug to the internet.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so go there. Tweet us, please. We like when people tweet us. I usually don't see them for days later, but Kat is usually on top of that, so...
Yeah, I'm on top of it. We've gotten some cool new followers lately.
Let's mention a name. Let's give someone a shout-out. Just... If you hear your name, tweet us. So shout out to Thaddeus James at Notebook Noise.
What up, Thaddeus?
And he writes songs and uses hashtags. All right, so if you hear this, Thaddeus, give us a shout out via Twitter. Anyway, so Cybill, it's, as I said, it was on for like 4 seasons on CBS.
Yes, it was one of those CBS sitcoms in the 90s. I feel like CBS doesn't really have that many like well-known sitcoms from the 90s, though.
Well, there was Everybody Loves Raymond, I believe, originated.
Yeah, Everybody Loves Raymond.
And that's about it.
But yeah, like, I feel like this was kind of like a dry spell. Oh, they had Murphy Brown for a while.
Oh, yeah. I always kind of forget about Murphy Brown, though, to be honest with you.
Murphy Brown is one of my all-time favorites.
All right, so this is a Carsey Werner production.
Yes, it is, but it also involves Chuck Lorre.
He is the creator of it. I believe he was only involved in the show for a very limited period of time.
I want to say it's just the first, couple seasons. Because, of course, a show with a female lead and Chuck Lorre as your showrunner, guess what? Hence as fuck.
Well,
yeah, I said it.
Cybill Shepherd kind of has like a strong personality, let's say.
Yes.
And I could just picture her in CL, not vibin'. All right, Chuck Lorre was only involved during the show's first season.
Okay, just the first. Which
is in 1995. Then he was ushered off the show. I don't know why, but he was ushered off the show.
But this is like also when he was doing he was in his super alcoholic phase. It was right before he hit rock bottom.
Oh shit, he had a rock bottom?
Yeah. I think that's part of why he didn't put up with Charlie Sheen's shit on 2.5 Men.
Okay, well he's had he also suffers with colitis, depression, worry, and anger/rage. And actually you're right. Lorre is a recovering alcoholic, which John Cryer references in his autobiography. So John Cryer spilled that news, I guess, huh?
I feel like people already knew that.
Oh, okay. I just learned tonight, so I mean, I guess this podcast teaches you things.
I guess so.
Yeah. So Chuck Lorre left the show very early on, and it just kind of continued, huh?
Yeah, it just went streaming along for another few seasons.
Well, I believe, was Cybill a producer of the show as well, or did she have a lot of the
I think she did. Did she have a lot of input? Because she described the show as her life if she hadn't struck it big with the movies and moonlighting. If she had never had those roles, if she was still struggling to try and find that role that defined her career and gave her the success she wanted.
Yeah, so the basic premise of the show is Cybill plays an alternate universe version of herself. Mm-hmm. She's kind of like a forgotten actress. And she's over the hill. She's hit her 40s. And
yeah, she's basically like that actress that you see in a lot of things, but you never really know who she is.
She might play the mom in something, or
she's gonna be the mom in the cheesy family comedy, and then the next week she's off doing the hemorrhoid commercial or the tampon commercial or something super embarrassing. And then the next week she's doing a guest spot on Law and Order or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah, she's playing a DA or something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they would give her a role where she gets to wear a suit, a lady suit.
Yeah. Because the thing is, her character, I don't remember her character ever being out of work that often. She was always doing something.
Yeah, bit parts and stuff.
Yeah, she was doing small parts. She'd be on these cheesy TV shows that would only last a season. Some sci-fi western or something.
It seems like she was doing okay because she lived in a 2-story house in Los Angeles.
That has an apartment above the garage, so.
And a garage. It has a garage.
And it's near the beach.
Is it near the beach?
Yeah, I think it's near the beach.
And it's decorated very nicely, and she is able to afford a decent wardrobe.
Yeah. So it's she's making it, but she's not that household name.
No. But although her friend Maryann, I believe, who's played by Christine Baranski, has recently come into money on the show.
Because she divorced Dr. Dick.
So Dr. Dick is a character who is never seen?
He's never seen. He's one of those never seen, but you hear him every once in a while kind of things.
He's outside the door or he's calling up.
Yeah, he's outside the door. He's the asshole ex-husband who cheated on Maryann for years. Okay. And she finally divorced him. And he was a successful plastic surgeon or something.
He's Dr. 90210.
Yeah.
Well, what I was really confused about, only because I've never really seen the show that much. So she's married, she was married to a guy named Dick, Dr. Dick. And then she's also was engaged to a guy named Richard, which are basically the same name. Yeah. So I was confused right off the bat.
Okay, when I started my notes, I went and I looked up information first, which normally I don't do, but I just went and looked up the cast list, and I was there's a guy named Richard, and I was I guess we see Dr. Dick, because I figured Richard Dick.
Yeah.
I didn't realize at first they were two totally different guys.
It took me to my second viewing when I realized they were two different guys. Because I was like, why don't they just show Richard or / Dick when he comes like to the door? And it just confused the hell out of me. So the creator of the show basically has creative rights to just name two completely different characters with different names, but yet they have to be identical for some reason. Confusing.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a reason, like, whenever he was introduced, it was like, let's name him Richard, so that he is, like, totally the opposite of Dick. And you have to say it like that. It has to be Dick.
You're like, your lip has to curl like you're a growling dog.
Yeah.
I believe Cybill refers it to as the Dick scowl.
Yeah.
Which sounded a little dirty to me, to be honest with you. And I don't know, like, what time was this on? Like at 9:30, or was this on like at 8? Because it seems kind of racy for the time.
I actually don't know. Like, I didn't see any of that kind of information when I was researching. There, honestly, when I was doing my search, I couldn't find a whole lot on the show.
Yeah, it's mostly forgotten. Like, it's never been re-syndicated anywhere. I believe it just...
Yeah, it's not like it's something you're going to find when you're flipping through the channels.
No.
And land on Nick at Night. You're not going to find Cybill. You're just not.
It never hit 100 episodes. It was 80-something. It was just shy. And I believe it took like forever. I think it just came out on DVD like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And
like, I was excited when I saw it was on Hulu. I was like, heck yeah! Because I liked the show. I remember watching the show. I remember liking it. But
like, they are 40, in their early 40s. How old are they again? Somewhere in the 40s?
They're in their like 40s, yeah.
They're only like 6 years away from us, like that age. And I just, I feel like they're so much more advanced. They're so much more advanced than us.
Oh my god. I hate when you do that.
But then at the same time, like, you know what? Cybill and Maryann, it's the daytime and they're just like at a bar drinking with...
That's true. Well, they were supposed to be... The show initially drew heavily from Absolutely Fabulous.
Adina and Patsy. That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
And you call yourself a television fan. I think you should be... You're going to be demoted. You're going to be recasted in the next episode of this podcast.
You can't recast me. No. You'll never find someone as awesome as me to replace me.
Tiffani Amber-Thiessen. She'll be on the next one, don't worry. I have to tell you about the Tiffani Amber-Thiessen dream I had the other night.
Okay.
All right, so I was at like a mall food court.
Okay.
And it was at a mall / food court I've never been to before, so it's like foreign territory. And I saw Tiffani Amber-Thiessen there. She was in a wheelchair. And then she decided that she wanted to do the cigarette smush dance, which is like, you know that dance, the twist that they do in like Pulp Fiction? But she was doing it in her wheelchair. And then I was doing the John Travolta thing while she was doing like the Uma Thurman part, but in a wheelchair. And there was also another famous celebrity there videotaping this, Nancy McKeon, who played Jo on Facts of Life. She took photos on her iPhone and Instagrammed it for us. So, yes, not only do I think about TV during the day, it also creeps into my subconscious. In the form of Joe Polnicek, taking video of me doing the twist with Tiffani Amber-Thiessen in a wheelchair.
Oh my god, that is just weird.
I don't know, is there a dream book that can answer that?
I don't know if a dream interpretation could answer that. Maybe one of our listeners knows.
And
So tweet us at the right podcast to tell us what Patrick's dream means.
Strangely, it kind of segues into tonight's episode of Cybill.
Yes, it does.
All right, so tonight's episode is called Regarding Henry, and I literally just got the meaning of the title like an hour before I started recording this. All right, so this is season 4, episode 1. This is the season premiere.
Yes.
All right, so this is what I've gathered from the first few minutes of dialogue in the show, that in the previous episode, Maryann was going to marry Richard, not Dr. Dick, but the other Richard, and she decided not to for some weird reason.
I think the reason was she got confused because Dr. Dick decided to start come crawling back and apologize and being sweet. Like, he suddenly realized that Maryann was probably the best thing that ever happened to him, and he had to, like, try and get her back before she was with somebody else. Because that's how guys always are. They don't know what they have until it's gone, and then they try to ruin it when there's someone new who actually appreciates the person.
I thought you were going to bust into like a Joni Mitchell song right now for some reason.
No, I do not have any Joni Mitchell on my iTunes. At least I don't think I do.
All right, so the episode begins with a dream sequence. The actual like cold open involves Cybill. She's in her like fancy bedroom, and you can tell it's a dream because it's cloudy-ish looking. It's really like smoggy looking. Yeah, like you know how you always know it's a dream sequence when Saved by the Bell when there's like a pink hue
it's like
around.
The bright pink.
So yes. Cybill does like a more foggy looking one. I guess maybe it's supposed to represent a dream.
Yeah, because dreams are not clear. Dreams are kind of hazy.
And in her dream, Cybill has the hots for Richard, Maryann's ex-fiancé, I guess is what we'll call him.
Yeah, she's like trying to sleep with Richard. And she's like, oh, Maryann will be okay. Maryann like walks in on the middle of this and is like, oh, I'll make you omelets.
No, well, what happens, Maryann comes in first in the dream and she's like upset and overwrought with emotions. And then Cybill's like, wait, this is my dream. I can change this. And she like does that Samantha from Bewitched thing where she like wiggles her nose.
Oh, yeah.
And then Maryann's like, oh, you guys want some omelets while you two frolic in this like California king bed over here?
Yeah.
But I guess Cybill's subconscious still kind of creeps up on her because then Maryann comes in with a grenade and throws it on the bed.
Yeah.
And it explodes and Cybill wakes up and she's like, oh, fuck. She's like, this is like the 5th dream I've had this week involving me and Richard in the throes of passion. Like,
okay, have you ever had a sex dream about somebody you shouldn't have had a sex dream about?
Yeah, and it's not like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You just wake up from it and you go, that was fucking weird.
You kind of like wake up and you go, wait, okay, I had a sex dream about them. Okay, that was weird.
Then you go back to bed, and then you dream about Tiffani Amber-Thiessen in a wheelchair. And life is back to normal.
Oh my gosh, okay.
But Cybill is trying to like read into this dream thing. So she's now at, I guess, like brunch with Maryann. Yeah,
they're like at brunch or lunch or just whatever. They're having drinks in a restaurant in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and throughout this whole episode, Maryann is just dressed like a villain from Batman the Animated Series.
That was kind of just her like look.
Like
she's like over the top suit.
She always looks like something the Riddler would wear in Batman. Like just some kind of. It's just different colors. Let's say like the Riddler just decided not to wear green one day, just like a yellow. It's just goes to Maryann's closet and grabs this stuff.
Yeah, totes. Totes my goats.
And so now they're having their brunch / lunch, and they're loud. They're being obnoxious and loud. So like the whole
they're those ladies at brunch.
Yeah, they are like quote unquote broads at lunch.
Okay, because we talked about the fact that they were on their cell phones at the start of that scene.
Oh, that's right.
Talking to Cybill on the cell phone. Cybill is in the bathroom, coming out of the bathroom, and they've been on the cell phones like this whole time. And this is in like, what, 1997? And they were that connected to their cell phones.
This would have been an expensive phone call. Because, all right, so they establish it. You see Maryann, she's like sitting down at their brunch table. She's already pounded martinis. And she's like on the phone with Cybill, like, you need to hurry up and get over here, like right now. So like, you're like, holy shit, she's probably like, Cybill's probably throwing her makeup on. She's in the car. She's like,
or she's stuck in LA traffic or something, you know, or she's like going to come in through the front door and he's second and join her. No, Cybill comes from the bathroom.
And so they were chatting this whole time while she was taking a leak. And then Cybill sits down and they're still on the phone talking to each other. And Cybill's like, well, I'm here now, so I guess I'll just talk to you in person. And Maryann's like, okay. And she just like hangs up the phone.
Yeah. Like that was so weird to me. Like when I thought about like today that makes, because that's just sadly how we are. We're so connected to our phones that makes way more sense for 2016 than it does for 97, 98. Because people really didn't have cell phones still.
I mean, if you had money, you probably did, because Maryann probably could have afforded it, because I figured that phone call...
People still had pagers, and you were still going, beep me if you need me, page me if you need me.
That was probably like a $50 phone call right there that Cybill and Maryann made. Like, they didn't have minutes then. You just fucking paid for every second of the call, no matter what you had to talk about. And so this is where Maryann establishes that she newly left Richard at the altar.
Yeah.
She's still kind of worried about Dr. Dick. Cybill's like trying to talk her out of doing anything foolish.
Cybill is that friend that every woman needs in a breakup that keeps you from going back to your ex. She's the one who's going to remind you that he was a total piece of shit to you, that he treated you like crap, that he did whatever bad thing he did to you so that you do not make that mistake and go back to him, so that he can do it all over again.
She's the squad leader, basically. And, all right, so... Every few seconds, Maryann would make a reference, like a sex reference with Cybill about Richard, and Cybill would be like, oh, I know. Like, I know exactly what he's like.
Yeah, Cybill was getting all flustered, and it's like, I was kind of like, I don't think any of my sex dreams have ever left me like that giddy over the participant in the dream for like days on end.
All right, so I haven't seen any episodes following this. Is this something that's ever revisited again in the show?
Honest to God, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to binge watch Cybill.
Okay.
So, and I don't remember because it was 1997, 98. Holy crap, that was a long time ago.
After that, I guess they just decide to have a sleepover at Cybill's house that night, just to kind of like forget about everything. They just kind of want to forget about Rich and Dick.
Just kind of like have a girls' night.
Like their whole life is a girls' night.
That's true. Like they are always together. It's always a girls' night. There's no like real. This is definitely not a rom-com.
No, they were just literally girls' night in it at like 11 a.m., like 5 minutes while they were talking about doing a girls' night. Like they could have just kept their day going and said like, let's separate for the day and then get back together, because apparently there was no prospects for them at all, like job-wise.
I guess not.
Although, is it just Cybill who is an actress, or is it Maryann? Does she like have that acting
it's just
bug?
Cybill. Maryann was basically like your Beverly Hills housewife.
She was like, probably like, yeah, she was a housewife. Was she a secretary at one point?
I don't think so. Maybe she started as a secretary, married well, and then didn't have to work anymore.
Well, I do know that she answered the phones for Dr. Dick one day when she caught him failing up one of his patients. And then...
No, it was the receptionist.
Oh, failing up the receptionist. Yeah. And then Dr. Dick told Maryann that it was just like, oh, she's just getting ready for a breast augmentation. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll answer the phones for you.
Yeah, I'll answer the phones. Oh, my God. Maryann.
Poor thing. She's definitely like a little naive. She's probably like new to Hollywood, I imagine, right? Are they both from out of town originally?
Yeah, they're both from out of town.
So they just want to make it in this world, and they're just being put down by the man, literally.
Damn the man.
But I feel like they definitely hit their stride in the 40s, I guess.
You mean in their 40s?
Yeah, in their 40s.
Yeah. Well, that's when I believe women are at their sexual peak, or is in their 40s.
They're cougars on the prowl.
Yes, that's what they need. They need some young, hot-looking thing who's in his sexual peak to be with them in their sexual peak and just have some wild nights.
Yeah, and let me bring this up. There's a lot of Cybill cleavage in this episode, by the way.
Yeah, I think there's always a lot of Cybill cleavage.
I felt like the camera zoomed in on her rack like every 2 minutes. Or she was doing something where she had to like bend over. Okay,
here's the thing. When you have them, they're kind of just there.
Alright, so now we're back at Cybill's house. Just before Cybill and Maryann get there for the night, Cybill's kid, who's played by Alicia Witt, who I did not expect to see in this.
Yes, the queen of the Hallmark movie.
Yeah, I was surprised. I never knew she was in this, so I was like, holy shit, is that Alicia Witt? And then I checked like the name, the IMDb, and I was like, oh shit, it is. So Alicia Witt is dating Danny Masterson in this show.
Yeah.
Danny Masterson is Maryann's son.
Yes.
So their kids are cross-pollinated, basically.
Yeah.
They're gonna like unite the two of them. They're gonna make them someday sister-in-laws.
If these two can ever have sex.
They can't because there's always something in the way. Like Cybill decides to have a slumber party that night with her 44-year-old best friend, and Alicia Witt is just afraid to do it with Cybill and Maryann, like, close by.
Yeah.
And Danny Masterson's like, we can go to a car, and Alicia Witt just gets pissed. She's beside herself.
Oh, how dare you suggest that?
And then they're not in the rest of the episode. They have this, like, quick...
Yeah, they're not in the rest of the episode at all, which is kind of like, that's kind of weird.
I wonder if they were saving that storyline for, like, a sweeps episode, and they just want to kind of slowly build up to it.
I think they were kind of, like, building that. I feel like there were several attempts for Justin and Zoe to sleep together, but stuff kept happening.
Like, are they a huge part of the show, or are they just kind of, like, pop in and out?
Like, Zoe's in every episode. And when Justin shows up, he's in every episode since he shows up.
Okay, and I know there's another daughter for Cybill that is sometimes...
Yeah, there is another daughter played by Deedee Pfieffer, which I believe is Michelle Pfeiffer's younger sister.
Okay.
And she's in the early seasons, and then she kind of just disappears. But I think she was in the Christmas episode from this season. So she's, like, there, but not as heavily involved.
She pops up when it's necessary.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's got that Pfeiffer money. She doesn't need to work that much.
You think Michelle's just, like, handing her money?
Yeah, when she needs, like, her car payment made or something like that, maybe.
Oh, my.
Do I have a lot to learn about celebrity sisters?
I just don't think Michelle Pfeiffer's paying for her younger sister's car.
Why wouldn't you? Like,
why would she? Deedee can get her own damn acting job.
I mean, if you make, like, a shitload of money doing stuff, like, she was in Dangerous Minds. She was the fucking Catwoman. I don't know, a lot of things. She probably has some steady income.
She was in Grease 2. She was in New Year's Eve. Hairspray.
A Hairspray commercial.
No, she was in Hairspray with Zac Efron and John Travolta.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's some missteps along the way. Grease 2.
Hey, that was like one of her first jobs.
She needed to pay her sister's car payment, so she was taking whatever she could. So how much younger is Deedee Pfeiffer?
Let's find out.
It's like,
Let's see what the Google tells me.
Is she like a kid sister? Alright, so Deedee Pfeiffer was born in 1964, and Michelle was born in 1958. So they're very close in age. They're not, like, separated by much.
Oh. You found that way faster than it took me to even type their names into Google.
Yeah, I don't know what internet you have, but...
I'm hotspotting off my cell phone.
There you go.
So, yeah. Yeah, probably eating up all my data.
So, Deedee and Michelle are close in age. So, I do feel like that Michelle, when she was doing Grease 2, she could have earned enough to maybe pay for Deedee's car insurance or car payment. Maybe rent. Who knows? Maybe she wanted to take a class at the local community college, but couldn't get student loans. So Michelle's like, you know what?
Maybe.
I got this Grease 2 dough. You want a piece of that? And Deedee's like, yeah, sure, just to get me started. And then Deedee probably took up a little few acting gigs here and there.
Yeah, I think she definitely had acting gigs. Oh, she's got a decent filmography.
Deedee?
Yeah.
What's the most impressive thing on there? I'm really intrigued by a movie she did in 2007 called Alien vs. Hunter.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. It's like she's done stuff. It's definitely not a lot of stuff I've heard of.
All right. The best thing about Alien vs. Hunter is that it was a direct ripoff of Aliens vs. Predator. All right. So this is definitely one of those, like, Sci-Fi Channel-esque movies.
Probably.
That came out. Okay. So she also was in an episode of CSI New York, an episode of Friends,
an episode of Supernatural,
an episode of Soup Nat, and she was in Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I believe... Oh, it's not like the cinematic one. It's like a direct-to-DVD. So she's doing a lot of direct-to-DVDs.
Yeah.
That seems to be her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But,
hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I mean, you're not Michelle Pfeiffer. You're Deedee Pfeiffer. And it's spelled D-E-E-D-E-E. So, hey... Who am I to judge? All right, so Cybill and Maryann are having a slumber party this evening, and
yes, and in the middle of it, Like, after Maryann has fallen asleep, Cybill goes downstairs and she decides to call, like, the Psychic Friends Network.
Yeah, so she wants to find out if she will be having a dream that night in which she is having sex with Richard, because she's afraid that, like, in her sleep, Cybill will talk and she'll actually, like, say Richard's name aloud.
She'll be like, oh, Richard, who cares what Maryann thinks? Oh, Richard. Like,
And then I believe the Psychic Friend Network girl asks Cybill if she's a moaner.
yeah.
And
whoever is like the psychic is like, are you a moaner?
And Cybill is like, you should be paying me for this phone call, and slams it. Then Maryann comes into the room in like a fairy tutu-esque costume, which is like
she's got like such over-the-top lingerie. I do not believe women really wear this stuff to bed. It's only a TV movie kind of thing.
Like, as I said, Maryann is just a Batman animated series villain. Like, I could just picture like one of Joker's like skanky goons is probably wearing one of those, like Harley Quinn or something.
Yeah.
And so now they're having a chat. Cybill keeps like kind of going back to the sex dream without really like bringing it up to Maryann what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. Then like Cybill then somehow starts to talk about like maybe like why do they deserve this? Why do they deserve this like shitty luck? We must have like done something bad in a previous life.
Yeah, she has this whole thing. She's like, we were Amazon warriors, and we kept men in cages and used them just for sex. And I'm like, sure you did, Cybill. Sure you did.
So then Cybill decides, she's like, you know what, I have a great idea. She's like, let's go see a past life regression therapist tomorrow.
God is not having it. She's like, great, more new age crystal voodoo barking at the moon.
Yeah, because, so, is Cybill kind of like into that? Is that kind of her thing?
I think so. I feel like in that time period, in the mid-90s, there was very much a metaphysical resurgence.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of cool again to be into past lives and the power of crystals. And I bet if I went through some of my stepmom's books, I'd probably find stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of like, it started to come back into play. Because I remember, like, seeing a lot of stuff about, like, you had movies like The Craft came out that was kind of like into like witchcraft and paganism and weird things like that. And then of course you had like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which kind of reintroduced.
Yeah, it was a whole kind of like trend that kind of spurred different things.
And you had lots of people listening to Enya.
Yes.
All right, so now I guess it's suddenly the next day, and so it's Nora Dunn she's the therapist, I believe.
Yes.
I recognized, I was like, off the bat, I was like, I know that woman. And then when I looked up the...
yeah, I know. I didn't look her up. I was just like, oh, she's that girl that you see in everything.
She's
in this kind of role.
She plays the therapist in something. Oh, she's the therapist in this. So she very easily just brings Cybill into a dream sequence, in which we get another dream sequence. So, like, that's...
No. First, Cybill's like, maybe I was Cleopatra, and she's like, no, that's a dental hygienist from, like...
Bakersfield. I just remember Bakersfield.
Bakersfield. And then Cybill's like, well, maybe I was Helen of Troy. And the woman was like, the therapist was like, no, that's John Tesh.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Tesh.
John Tesh's, like, last mention on a sitcom. This is probably, like, prime him not being a big thing anymore.
Well, he still has a radio show.
I never even knew he had a radio show, so...
Yeah, so...
He was on Entertainment Tonight, or one of those shows.
Yeah, he was, like, on Entertainment Tonight. He's, like, a musician. And, he has, like, this radio show. It's, like, this talk radio show, but it also plays music. And, it airs across the country. It's syndicated. And I used to listen to it all the time when I worked at this burrito place, because I just never changed the radio station. So I would listen to the John Tesh radio show every night while I was working.
Do you think...
And no customers would ever come in.
Do you think that Ryan Seacrest is a modern day John Tesh?
No, Ryan Seacrest is the modern day Dick Clark and Casey Kasem.
Okay, I felt like that John Tesh was kind of on that path too, because he was on like Entertainment Tonight, and then he
he could have, but he gears older.
He's like
Ryan Seacrest gears to the same age group that would have been watching Dick Clark or listening to Casey Kasem.
And John Tesh would have geared towards the age group of people that watch, I don't know, Matlock maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, he's your grandmother's favorite TV personality, John Tesh.
Yeah, probably.
And it's...
John Tesh, he's just so dreamy.
Cue his saxophone music. Does he play saxophone? Or am I thinking of Kenny G?
I think you're thinking Kenny G. I think John Tesh was piano. Performed with Yanni. He is the keyboardist for Yanni.
All right, let's look up John Tesh music. All right, so John
Tesh created the theme to Bobby's World.
Okay. So John Tesh, he is an American pianist and composer of pop music, as well as a radio host and television presenter. Oh, he has Intelligence for Your Life. Is that the name of his radio show?
I think that was something else. I actually don't remember. I think it was John Tesh Radio. I don't remember what it was called. What does it say? Oh, John Tesh Radio Show.
Okay. Well, he had another one called Intelligence for Your Life.
Yeah, I think it was like a television version.
God bless John Tesh. If you were listening to this, John Tesh, give us a shout out, and we would love to talk to you about your contemporary pop music.
We sure would.
All right, so now Cybill, she kind of just trickles into her past life at this point, huh?
Yes, she gets warned that souls travel in packs, so she might see familiar faces. Like
anyone involved in the cast on the show.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're on the cast, you're probably in the dream sequence in some way. And so she ends up in King Henry's court, and she's like the singer who has to perform a song for him the night before he's supposed to marry Anne Boleyn.
Richard is King Henry in this dream sequence. Maryann is Anne Boleyn. Alicia Witt is a man, like a bearded man in this sequence.
It's like it's supposed to be like Cybill's father.
Yeah, I don't know why. Is Ira in this dream sequence? I couldn't.
Yeah, Ira was with her brother.
Okay.
The one who kept trying to make poems and they were not good.
Oh yeah, the bad poet.
Yeah.
All right, so Cybill, she has to perform in front of King Henry. And I guess she's not that good. Like, even in her days, she's like a struggling.
She's always struggling. Yeah. She's always a struggling performer. Like, she's always just close to that big break. And so she does this song for the king. And can we talk about how she has a wardrobe malfunction?
Yep. Speaking of cleavage, her top pops off, and because it's CBS, you don't see anything, but in real life,
it's not even her top falls off and her bare breasts are out, but part of the dress falls apart. You see what would have been covering her, her bra area, whatever they had back in King Henry's day, because they didn't have bras then. But it's so scandalous.
But because it's CBS, you don't see. There's not memories all over the television. So you can watch this with your grandmother. But she has a wardrobe malfunction. She freaks out. She basically just ruined her chance, even though Henry was probably into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Henry was like, oh, hello, come here, little lady. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, so she runs out of the room, and she runs into Maryann/Anne Boleyn. And she's like, she
goes into the ladies' room.
Yeah, it's like a fancy-ass ladies' room, too. It has its own outhouse in it.
Well, okay, it's a ladies' room, so it's got the toilet area, of course, and it's fancy, so it has a curtain.
Yep, and a place you can sit. And
it has a bench for the ladies to sit on.
To sit and talk.
And the king comes in, and he's all like, "Why is it so fancy here? No wonder you ladies come in pairs."
Oh, old times.
Well, because that's always the joke on TV when a guy goes into a ladies' room. It's like, oh, there's a bench. Why do you have a bench or a couch? Or why is it so nice in here? I think I've only been in like a handful of ladies' rooms that actually have like a bench, okay, or a couch or something. It's not that common.
I've peeked into a ladies' room before, and I saw a couch and like a table, like a nightstand. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, It's not like you're hanging out in there. Like, it probably smells like nasty human waste in there. And no one's like just chilling in there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess some places have it, right?
Some places do. It's like maybe like definitely a fancy hotel might. If you're like there for a function, like your prom or a wedding, the ladies' room might have something.
Like would it be
like
a
couch
room
or something?
But it would be separated from the actual like room with the toilets out.
Yeah, it's gonna be like there's like a little sitting area, and then there's like the stalls. So basically, where the urinals would be is where the couch is.
Okay, but there's definitely like some kind of obstruction like before the toilet area, I imagine. Like
yeah, it's not like it's in the toilet. Not like the couch is in with the actual toilet. There's like a separation.
All right. Ladies, if you are listening to this podcast and you know of a fancy bathroom, tweet us its location and take a pic if you can. All right. If there's a lady listening to this podcast and you know a fancy bathroom, there's a couch in it, lay down on the couch and have your BFF take a pic of you laying on the couch.
Wait. I just realized I have a fancy bathroom. I have a bench in my bathroom.
You have a bench? All right, so lay on your bench later on and take a pic of you on it.
Oh my god. I just totally looked over to my bathroom and I was like, oh hey, wait, I have a bench in there.
Like, is there a mirror and you can just see the bench in the mirror, like from your angle that you're at?
No, well, the angle I'm at right now, I can just see the bench. I can't see the shower and toilet are over here, and then there's it's a big room. Like, it doesn't have to be as big as it is, and then there's this bench in it.
Okay. Meanwhile, the men's room is just a gigantic pee trough.
Yeah, men's rooms are disgusting. I've had to clean them, so I know exactly how disgusting a men's room is.
Oh, all I can just picture is poop smears.
Oh no, the best is when you have to clean up the freshman vomit.
Oh, you know what? I think I don't know. I'm vomit's pretty gross too. I would just if I ever had a job where I had to clean up a bathroom, I would just pretend I did it, and I don't know, maybe pay someone my hour pay that hour that it would have taken.
There was one place I worked, we started saying that the bathroom was closed for cleaning or out of order because customers were just coming in and trashing it all day long.
I feel like a public bathroom.
And I was like, you're not even buying anything from our store. I'm not going to let just random people come in and use my bathroom.
A public bathroom.
And then trash it.
Is just the most vile place in the world. Especially at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
It's just because you're at a bar, you're drunk, you gotta pee every 15 minutes. So it's just people busting in really quick. They gotta they probably held it in for a long ass time. And then there's just pee everywhere.
Yeah.
Because a guy can't pee straight. So there's just urine all over the place. It's on the floor, on the walls. And no one ever washes their hands. So people just touch everything.
Yeah, why do you not wash your hands, people? Wash your damn hands.
Wash your damn hands. That's our new hashtag. There's those
wash your damn.
You know how there's always some kind of crazy scandal going on in the world, and there's a hashtag about it, Black Lives Matter. There should be a new one, wash your damn hands. All right. Well, we're in the last stretch of the ep, so.
Okay, so Cybill goes over to Maryann, and she wants to tell her all about all of her past lives that she discovered, because she discovered 3 tonight at that, but we only got to see 1.
All right, so I think we skipped over a part. So while Cybill was going to the past life regression therapist, Maryann got a phone call from Dick.
Oh, yes. No, she didn't get a phone call. She called Dick.
All right, Dick.
To thank him for the orchids he sent her.
You're right. Okay, but Dick called her earlier, originally, like before the show started. Oh, yeah. And so, like, now she was returning the call to Dick. So, Cybill leaves to go see the therapist. And while she's having her, like, sexy old-timey adventures, Maryann calls up Dick. And she's like, "Hi, Dick. It's me, Maryann. Thank you for the orchids. I'm going to remove my Riddler sports jacket for you tonight. Hurry over, please." And then that's when Cybill comes home, basically, or she shows up at Maryann's house.
She comes over to Maryann.
So, like,
and she's just so busy talking about, like, her past lives, and she just starts, like, drinking the cocktail that's waiting on the table and, like, eating the, like, caviar or whatever it was that Maryann had set out. And then she's kind of like, wait, why are there snacks here and you're letting me eat them? And that's when she realizes that Dick is coming over.
Do you know what? I was really impressed that so Maryann has a guy coming over and she just, like, lays out an array of snacks.
Yeah, she, like, lays out. She's got a martini waiting. She's got, like, rich people food. She
probably wouldn't have had to, like, lay out all that food. Like, it's not like he's coming over to have, like, mozzarella sticks. He has more on his mind. And meanwhile, she's, like, trying to, like, determine, like, what pairs well with what.
Yeah, she's like, should it be the vodka or the gin?
And you know what? That was her fatal error, because Cybill is like, oh shit. She's like, I know what you get like when you have a man coming over. You just, like, start throwing snacks all over the place. And then the doorbell rings, and Maryann's, like, trying to, like, play it off like it's the milkman in 1997.
Yeah, or like it's a Girl Scout with cookies or something. And Cybill is not buying it. Cybill's like, give me the stun gun.
Dr. Dick is outside the door, like, holding the doorknob, I guess?
Yeah.
He's trying to, like, wiggle the door open.
Okay, so Cybill gets the stun gun because it's, like, just sitting behind a cushion on a chair. And she goes to the door and she's like, oh, Dick, come in. So you think he's going to, like, grab the door handle. It's, like, total, like, Home Alone kind of thing where she, like, stun guns the door handle and Dick goes, and
then he, like, collapses outside.
At the mouth or something.
So, can you do that? Is that...
I have no idea.
I was wondering, like, the science behind, like, does that work? Does it, like, deliver enough electricity to, like, shock a man through a doorknob? I mean, I guess so, right?
Well, I guess metal's a conductor, so it probably does.
Yeah. And then, like, they don't go out to check on him to make sure he's okay after. They just, like, let him fall on the ground.
They just leave him there.
And then, so he'll probably come to in, like, a few minutes. Like, is he just, like, he doesn't, like, come in and, like, attack them or like confront them or any, like, something? He just...
I think I would back away.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right, but I don't know.
Don't you think you would just be like, this is not a healthy situation, let's get the F out of here?
Like, wouldn't you at least come back with the police, though?
Maybe. But then again, both women could say they thought you were an intruder and they were just trying to protect themselves. But
Maryann invited Dr. Dick over on the pretense of sex, and he gets to the house. Cybill tells him to come in like a sexy tone, and then he gets shocked. So I'm just kind of like, oh, like, yeah. I feel like he might have a ground to stand on there, but I don't know. I mean, it's up to the courts to decide, I guess. But really, do you want to, like, have to do that? It just sounds like a lot of paperwork, and then you're gonna have to get your lawyers involved. Yeah. Or you could just, like, be like, okay, let's just drop, moving on. Yeah. Like, I got electrocuted by my ex-wife. All right. I thought we were going to have some snacks, but I guess not. Yeah. I guess she's still pissed at me for that whole thing with the receptionist. I feel kind of bad for him, because, like, what if he, like, was, like, on an empty stomach, and he's like, you know what, I know she likes to lay out snacks. I know Maryann's going to have that delicious caviar waiting for me. And a nice dry martini. Yeah, so then Cybill and Maryann, they hug it out. They realize that all they need in life is each other. Exactly. And then Cybill's like, well, you get this martini already here. We might as well just have fun. And... yeah, might as well just enjoy the snacks and drinks. Yeah. Ready on. And scene. That's basically the episode, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, there was a few parts that I was confused on. Like, I really didn't understand where they were going with the past life regression therapy. It kind of seemed like they were building up to something. Like, they never really answered Cybill's sex dreams, did they? Like, did she resolve that issue?
No, because there's that last scene, little scene at the end. Because earlier she had mentioned when they were at Disneyland at the Hall of Presidents or whatever, she just, like, could not stop staring at Grover Cleveland, and she didn't know why. Like, she was just, like, drawn to Grover Cleveland. And then she had one of the past lives was her watching Grover Cleveland in his underwear, and Richard was Grover Cleveland.
Okay. You know what? I totally did not connect those two.
You didn't?
No. I still, like, didn't really know what Richard looked like, because I think he was, like, heavily disguised. And,
we saw him, like, once, and then he kind of was, like, he was in costume the other time.
The only reason I knew Richard was King Henry was because I looked up the cast. I just had to see, like, who was who. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense, but maybe not. I don't know.
That makes sense, yeah. I kind of feel like the past life regression thing was just one of those, like, cool Hollywood type things you were supposed to do in 1998. Like, oh, yeah, I've got my past life regression therapy today.
Yeah, like, I feel like Cybill probably, like, she probably ran in, like, Hollywood circle with, like, a lot of Hollywood types, and they were probably, like, all into that. And she's like, you know what, I want to do a joke on it. I want to spoof it in my hit CBS show, which will be forgotten mostly.
Yeah.
But what was your overall thoughts of the episode? Like, was it a great episode of Cybill? Is this, like, an average? Like, what's the average episode of Cybill like?
I feel like this is probably just, like, an average episode.
Like, I was really surprised that this is the season opener. It was kind of weak for a season opener.
Yeah, it felt kind of weak for a season opener, but I also feel like maybe season openers weren't as boom as they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you gotta hit the ground running though, especially if you're an on the bubble show like Cybill. You know, you gotta come out of the gates like kicking and screaming.
Yeah, it was an okay episode. If this was the only episode of Cybill I ever seen, I don't think I would be, like, racing to watch more. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, like, because I felt like for a season opener that they kind of came out of the gates, like, walking back and grabbing their drinks, and then went back out the gate.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, like, yeah, like I said, it was the first episode of Cybill I ever saw, but I'm not, like, racing to see another episode. I kind of would just rather just go online and just read the synopsises and see if, like, there's anything that sounds more interesting, and then maybe watch an episode. But I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back to the beginning, see the Chuck Lorre days.
Yeah, kind of gotta, like. I feel like around this time I stopped watching.
Yeah, and the show ended this very same season.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess things didn't really. CBS just kind of, like, suddenly pulled the plug on the show.
Yeah, It wasn't doing hot. CBS pulled the plug. It wasn't. CBS really didn't have a strong sitcom game then, though, either. Yeah, they had, like, Everybody Loves Raymond, and that was it, really.
Like, do we know what replaced Cybill, like, as far as another sitcom?
Give me a second. I can see if I can find out.
Like, this is way too soon for, like, 8 Simple Rules, right?
8 Simple Rules was on ABC, sweetheart.
Oh, was it? Okay. 2.5 Men? Was that too soon?
Too soon, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Wikipedia does not say.
King of Queens came out the following year.
Okay.
And the Brian Ben Show. That was their Monday nights thing. So, I guess maybe they were kind of...
What?
Something called the Brian Ben Show. It obviously was not a hit. It starred actor Brian Ben. But we know King of Queens. It was a thriving sitcom. Yes, so I kind of feel like maybe CBS was kind of skewering to a different. Did I just say skewering? Skewing to a different crowd. So I guess it makes sense. But
yeah.
Yeah. So what do we have else lined up in the queue? Next week's episode is going to be an exciting one. Should I?
Next week. Oh my God! Next week is the week, isn't it?
All right. So next week's episode, we are going to go back. We're going into the archives for this episode. All right. So, in case you never hear us talking about it, the very first episode we ever recorded, but we never released, was Charles in Charge, the pilot. And so we're going to call this episode a rerun, but it is actually going to be us talking about the episode for a second time. And I don't know, I'm really excited for it.
I'm so excited.
So join us next week when we do the pilot episode of Charles in Charge, which you can find on Hulu. So I guess, as always,
bye!
Until next time.